Okay, so here I am back in Cleveland, and I'm talking to Chuck. And what's your Facebook name? Culann?
Culann Tha Lecher.
Okay.
The NSA already knows that, so it really doesn't matter if everybody else does it.
So we were talking about the Cleveland Five. Unfortunately, that happened, and I did interview you before, but I'm going to do an update in case there's something that's happened. That since
we're driving, let me at least roll up the windows so we got a little bit less road noise here.
Right. And, so the story was these 5 kids that were part of the Occupy Cleveland were hooked up with a provocateur or some inside person. Okay, I'll let you take it from here. And
the basic situation was that the FBI was looking for somebody that they could set up so that they could subvert and override what Occupy was trying to do. Unfortunately, in Occupy Cleveland, there was 5 people that had gotten frustrated with the way things were, and they were the weak link that the provocateur that the FBI sent in. This was a criminal that they had cut a deal with and said, hey, we'll let you go and you can keep on being a criminal as long as you bust somebody for us, set them up for us. And that's what happened.
Did you know the provocateur? Was he part of the Occupy group?
I didn't know him, but I knew 4 of the 5 that were set up because of my line of work. Because it's rigorous. Might be a union brother sitting next to me, doing the job with me, but you still got to know that they can do the job. So you learn to judge people and assess them and know what they can and can't do. Any veteran that's been in a combat situation knows it doesn't matter that guy's got the same uniform on. You got to know what he can do. You've got to be able to trust him to do something. Well, you just naturally start to be able to assess people.
And so what was your assessment of the 4?
My assessment of the 4, there is no way, shape, or form that these 4 could have on their own without being encouraged, bullshitted into it, subsidized, supported, and led by the hand until they could be put into handcuffs. It's as simple as that. There is no way these 4 would have done it on their own, even if they'd have had the intent for it. And they did not have the intent. One of them approached me shortly before it all happened because he wanted to see something good happen with the Occupy movement. He approached me because he trusted my opinion. If I had any inkling about what was going on, which I didn't, because I can't be on the front line. I'm in a logistical support position, shall we say. I was only there for part of the time. I wasn't able to see the progression that was going on. But if I'd had any inkling about it, maybe I would have been able to talk him into something more positive and get him thinking about that, and the whole thing would have been stillborn.
Now, originally there were 5?
There's 5.
How did one get off? Or did one get off?
No, I didn't get off. I'm saying I knew 4 of them. I didn't know the 5th
Oh, but there are 5 in jail.
There are 5.
So how long were they part of the Occupy movement before all of this?
Most of them were a part of it almost from the beginning, if not the beginning.
Okay.
So that's another reason why I know them, because I was there from the first meeting.
And so when they were arrested, what was the feeling in the camp then afterward? Was the camp already down by this time?
I was out of town working when I heard about it.
When it happened? Wow.
Yeah. When I came back, the camp was gone. And the warehouse that was our secondary place where people went to kind of like get warm and get out of the elements and that, the people that were inside, they had the doors locked. They were fearful. They were afraid people were going to come and get violent towards them. They were afraid of the police. They were afraid of everything. I had to beat on the door and convince them that I was another occupier before they would even think about opening the door to me. And they knew who I was. It was that bad. As soon as it came down, that was what the city needed as an excuse. They just wiped us right off of Public Square.
That was the end of Occupy, as you knew it.
The official Occupy Cleveland was killed as soon as the bomb plot came down.
So it basically worked.
And that was their intent. And it caused extreme damage to the movement nationwide.
Well, what it did, it reinforced this rumor that Occupy was violent and that we were ready to target and do damage to things, which was so untrue. You think these kids might get out?
No. The only way that they could possibly get out is that if the FBI was to admit, yeah, we set them up. That would be the only thing that would give them any hope of getting out.
Which is highly unlikely.
Extremely unlikely.
My question was, did you know any of the parents of the Cleveland Five? And you said you knew one.
Yeah, the one fellow I did know.
The father.
I met him.
Yeah. And was he pretty remorseful about his son? Was he shocked?
He shares the opinion that all of us have, that it was a setup. Flat out, stone cold, 100% setup. And that his son, just like the other four, were railroaded.
So then this meeting that you're talking about, that...
Oh yeah, the Occupy the Truth hate rally by the Tea Party.
They actually called it Occupy the Truth?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And all it was, hey, they might as well have been wearing brown shirts and swastikas, because I haven't seen a group that looked like a bunch of neo-Nazis ever.
Wow. Did you walk in before the meeting started?
It was in motion when I got there. The whole reason behind it is that they were there to malign Occupy. And they were spitting their hate, they were spitting their quasi-patriotic, yes, we're the real patriots, we're doing this and we're doing that, and we're not doing this. They're trying to say that they were, oh, we never had any violence in any of our stuff. I got threatened physically twice there. All because not only was I identified because I was wearing an Occupy shirt, but because I identified myself as a union member. As soon as that, the gloves came off right then and there.
So how many people were at this meeting?
I'm willing to say there was probably somewhere between 200 and 250.
Wow, okay, so pretty significant.
And every one of them that I came in contact with were a bunch of narrow-minded, ignorant, hateful bigots.
And so this was...
And then there was the bad ones.
So after the Cleveland Five, they had this meeting to rally up to say, see, I told you so, kind of thing?
Yeah, it was there just to, try to drive another nail in the coffin.
So how did the meeting end?
Or they had their little hate rally and rah-rah for themselves and put on a good show of saying the wrong Pledge of Allegiance, the one that violates separation of church and state, rather than the original one written by Francis Bellamy, a minister and a socialist. But they can't say that one because he's a pinko commie socialist. We can't do that one. We're going to do the McCarthy rah-rah one. So yeah, it was a hate rally, pure and simple.
Wow.
And as far as I'm concerned, the Tea Party is nothing but an American neo-Nazi party. Period. Done deal. They are hateful. They are violent. They try to say they're not, but they are. And all you got to do is come face to face with them and disagree with what they say, and you'll find out exactly what they're about. If you're not following their rigid fascist party line rhetoric, you're the enemy, and they're going to treat you like one.
And do they still meet? Are they still...
No, that was everyone. Everybody that came in that was running that rally was from somewhere else.
So they called it Occupy the Truth. So what was the truth that they were hoping to...
Oh, they were saying that, see what happened with Occupy, with the bomb plot and everything else like that. And see us, we're the good patriots. We're not being violent in that. These are people that are walking around with assault rifles.
Yes.
when they hold a Tea Party rally, they've got rifles,
right.
Assault rifles. They're doing open carry.
Yeah. And we're carrying a peace sign.
Yeah, we carry signs.
Yeah. So that's why.
Well, that right there, that's going to piss them off because we know how to spell and they don't.
It's pretty. I mean, it's almost laughable that when you look at what the occupation stands for, that they could construe violence from it, which is what Unmasking Occupy did. It was all about how violent and that got into mainstream.
That is the media that is pretty much controlled exclusively by the government, and if not the government, the ones that have bought and paid for the government, because they do not want a strong citizens movement. They want to crush the unions, which have set back the corporations from playing their little games. They want to put us back in the mid-19th century sweatshops for slave wages, if we're lucky. Does FEMA need with 1 million rounds of hollow points?
Right.
Why do they need that much information? They're saying, oh, it's for target practice. You don't use hollow points for target practice. You use hollow points to put a very big hole in somebody.
Right.
Hollow points are more expensive than standard ammunition. If you're going to do target practice, you're going to use regular ammunition. You're going to use the cheap stuff. Hollow points are there to maim and kill. Period. No other reason.
Right.
And they're buying the stuff that is fitting into assault rifles. It's assault rifle ammunition, and it's being distributed. The SWAT teams already look like Green Berets going out there with the same equipment that we have in a combat theater.
Well, and
they're equipped the same, and as many times as somebody has been shot and killed because they got the toys, and hey, we're above the law because we are the law. You can go on Cop Block on Facebook. You can go on Policing the Police on Facebook, and you'll get a long string of abuse of power by the police. They're looking for a chance to use deadly force.
Slow down so he knows that we're going in here. I'm sure he'll see it.
Yeah. I think he can figure that out.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I think the next couple months are going to be, and I say interesting, maybe disturbing, because what's been coming down. But we'll see. We're going to Parkersburg tomorrow to make some plans. Hopefully we can use our brains, not our brawn, because we haven't got a hope in hell of what we're facing.
There is no way, shape in the world that the founders stood against the most powerful military force on the planet at the time. The only reason why they really won is because of the long logistical lifeline that was there that they could not maintain. This is right in our own backyard, and even with third-rate equipment that they've got today, they could have wiped the walls with the British Empire within a week.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chuck.
Hopefully for the better.